at 7:04 p.m. Please silence your devices. Commissioner Pemberton, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is roll call. Deputy Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Roll call for tonight's meeting. Verhey?
Here.
Pemberton? Here. Hornstead?
Present.
Hubbard?
Here.
Sullivan?
Here.
Charbonneau?
Here.
And Chair Griswold.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is public comments on any subject except those items scheduled for a public hearing. The public hearing tonight is a conditional use permit. Deputy Clerk, is anyone signed in to speak?
There is no one signed in.
Would anyone in the audience wish to speak? Okay, would you please approach the table? You have 5 minutes. State your name and in or out.
Hi, Casey Warner, inside city limits, here as a private citizen. I just wanted to bring up, bring back to attention a comment that was made in an earlier planning and zoning meeting about the discrepancy between zones, that parcels of land within the city of Limit that are zoned for single-family houses versus the percentage of land that is zoned for multifamily housing. I think that's a really important thing that we need to be looking at, especially after some of the housing conversations that have been happening with planning and zoning, things that have kind of come out of that comprehensive plan as well. I think it's really important that we take a look at that discrepancy between those two zones and what we can maybe do about it to address the middle housing. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to speak? Okay. Then we will close public comments. Next on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. I need a motion to approve in a second. Please raise your hand to be acknowledged. Commissioner Charbonneau.
Make a motion to approve the agenda, consent agenda.
And a second. Commissioner Pemberton.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you. Deputy Clerk, would you please take the roll call vote on the agenda?
Motion to approve the agenda and consent agenda. Charbonneau?
Yes.
Verhey?
Yes.
Hornstead?
Yes.
Pemberton?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
And Chair Griswold.
Yes.
The agenda and consent agenda has been approved.
Next on the agenda is public hearings. Resolution 2025-031 starts on page 3 of the packet. Deputy Clerk, would you please read the title into the record?
Resolution 2025-031 of the Planning and Zoning Commission of the City of Seward, Alaska, granting a conditional use permit to Philip Zimmerman to construct a fourplex at 2009 Phoenix Road within a multi-family residential R3 zoning district. Quasi-judicial item, commissioners may not discuss any items about this resolution with the applicant, other commissioners, or the public.
Thank you very much. Does any commissioner need to declare a conflict of interest on this resolution?
No.
Does any commissioner need to declare ex parte contact with the applicant, other commissioners, or the public, or personal visit to the site on this quasi-judicial matter? Okay, very good. Please note that the motion to approve will be addressed after the public hearing and record is closed, according to Rule 59. Would the staff please provide a short summary?
Thank you, Chair Griswold. As indicated, Philip Zimmerman has applied for a conditional use permit to construct a fourplex at 2009 Phoenix Road. On page 11, you'll see a map.
Can I get a point of order? Can we get do we have a motion?
We need a motion in a second.
Note, I said, please note that the motion to approve will be addressed after the public hearing and record is closed, or according to Rule 59 for quasi-judicial hearings.
So we're changing it.
My apologies.
That's why I put that in there.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'm used to it having to be in the front.
This is there for you.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah.
Apologies.
You can refresh on Rule 59 later.
Okay, I will. Well, thank you very much.
Okay, as you were.
All right. On page 11, you'll see a map of the location for this conditional use permit. located within a multi-family residential zoning district. And then on page 20, you'll see what the proposed fourplex will look like. It'll be 2 units on either end with 2 bedrooms each, and then the middle units will be 1-bedroom units. The placement of the building does meet all of the development requirements, setbacks, building height, lot coverage, and you'll see that site plan on page 18. And then if you turn to the resolution on page, it's on page 8 and 9, you'll see the proposed conditions for this conditional use permit. Many of them do reflect similar conditions that have been placed on other multifamily dwellings. So, of course, the requirement to work with the appropriate departments for all development stages and to meet the requirements of those departments. The requirement of parking, the number required here reflects the current requirement in code, which is 2 parking spaces for each unit and a half space for each unit that's over 2 bedrooms or over 1,000 square feet, which you'll notice none of these units are over 2 bedrooms or over 1,000 square feet, so just 8 parking spaces have been required. And then, of course, the functional, bear-resistant refuge carts and appropriate 3-wall structure covering. And then the landscaping to the property, lawn grass, natural or ornamental shrubbery on all aspects of the property that aren't devoted to buildings, drives, or walks. And then a certificate of occupancy will not be granted until the above conditions have been met.
Thank you very much.
I have a question for staff.
Sure.
When I understood, when this subdivision was getting developed, I believe that whole area was zoned R1 to R3, right? And so I was wondering why he has to have a conditional use permit when there's several of these R3 and fourplex units that are already going up. Did every one of those have to get a conditional use permit? I don't remember. I came on later after they were developed, so I'm just wondering.
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and has been a point of confusion before that our R3 zoning districts zoned for multifamily would seem appropriate to allow multifamily dwellings outright, but how our land uses allowed table still requires conditional use permits for any multifamily dwellings that are 3 or more units. And so single-family dwellings and duplexes are allowed outright in this R3 multifamily zoning district, and so those didn't require any additional permitting, but all of the triplexes, fourplexes, and anything greater have had to get a conditional use permit in the multifamily zoning district.
So it stops at duplexes?
Correct.
Is R3? Okay. Is that something that we could work on in the future?
Rhonda, we need to focus on this public hearing.
Okay.
Okay, good question. Thank you. Would the applicant wish to speak to the conditional use permit application? You have up to 10 minutes.
I'm here to answer questions, that's all. I don't have
Okay.
anything to say.
Okay. Then I guess we'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone signed in to speak?
No, there is no one signed in to speak.
Okay. So then,
Do we have a question? Can we ask them questions, or do we get to do that?
I think this would be an appropriate time to do that.
Okay.
So if does the commission have questions? Okay. Would the applicant please come to the table and state your name and in or out of the city limits?
Phil Zimmerman, out of city limits.
Thank you. Commissioner Hubbard.
So I see there's a condition 9 here, and you have built some fourplexes up there. Sorry to hear that you got to go through conditional use permits for all of them.
Yes.
It's got to be annoying. Sorry about that. But did you have a condition 9 on the landscaping on all the other CUPs that you did?
Yes, I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
I didn't see anything out of the ordinary on this one, let me put it that way.
Okay. Because I was just wondering if that was if you were gonna plan on doing that all at once, because I haven't seen much landscaping, and I wasn't sure, was asphalt part of it? I don't think that's on here.
Most of the grounds are built for parking and people to put their stuff and that kind of thing. And some of, a good portion of those buildings are not mine. So the owners have the conditional use permit.
Oh, they're owned separately as like condo units?
Yeah, well, no, I'm just saying that some of those buildings I built for customers. They're not.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
This is the third building that is mine.
I see.
Out of, I think, I don't know, 8 or 9, maybe 10, something like that.
Could you focus your questions specifically on this CUP?
Well, I'm trying to get a grasp on what, maybe some amendments that I might do, so I just want to be
Okay.
consistent. I'm
Okay.
just trying to figure out what the tradition is out there, so thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant?
I have one, if it's possible. Is this construction essentially the same as the ones that you've done before? Because you've built all those that in that same area. This is essentially the same model of building and the rest?
Not really, I change them all a little bit.
Okay,
Yeah, I make them up as I go along.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Commissioner Verhey?
So I am just curious of the size you've chosen, like those single units being only like 500 and some square feet is pretty little.
I have people that are waiting to get in them and live there. So I built it basically to fit the constraints of the conditional use permit and for the people that are coming that need that housing in the spring.
Any other questions for the applicant? Go ahead, Commissioner Hubbard.
Do you find the parking requirements excessive?
Absolutely.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
I will now close the public hearing. Is there a motion to approve and a second? Please raise your hand to be acknowledged. Commissioner Sullivan?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2025-031.
And second?
I'll second it.
Okay, Commissioner Pemberton. We must now record findings of fact and conclusions of law in support or in opposition of this application. Please refer to the review criteria on page 789, and we also have a handy-dandy worksheet for additional conditions. Would the mover, Commissioner Sullivan, like to start with comments and facts in support of or in opposition to the motion? And then the seconder, Commissioner Pemberton.
Well, at what I've seen from previous houses that are structures that he has done in that area, as well as his history has been, I find that it goes in accordance with the check sheet which you've provided here with all the different things that we need to look at, and I think it meets all those as identified by the community development. So I would certainly be in support of this, as we certainly do need the housing.
Okay. Commissioner Pemberton, you're next.
I would have to say the same, basically, that I think it would meet everything that he's already done before, the 3 he's done before. I think this would meet with that.
Okay. Anyone else have
In favor.
comments?
I'd like to submit an
Hubbard?
amendment.
Okay.
Under condition 4, it says a minimum of 8 parking spaces shall be provided for on-site. At least one of those parking spaces shall be compliant with the American Disabilities Act. That seems, and as you know, we've been in discussion about parking, and so I would like to amend this, and to say, to amend condition 4, to strike the first sentence and replace it with, the applicant shall be required to provide the minimum number of parking spaces on site as required by city code for multifamily dwellings. And if I can get a second, I'll speak to that. Really?
There's no second.
The reason, can I talk a little bit more?
No? That would proceed if we had a second.
Can I read it again, so you guys?
Sure. You move to?
I move to required to provide, that the applicant shall be required to provide the minimum number of parking spaces on site as required by city code for multifamily dwellings, so that when the code changes, that he will still be under any code changes in the future. So when we reduce the parking spaces...
You can't discuss further. That's your motion.
Yeah, I just want you to understand, I don't think people are grasping it.
Rhonda,
Yeah.
we have a motion on the floor. There is no second, and so it fails. Any other amendments to this? Okay. A yes vote finds that the proposed...
More discussion?
Oh, sure. Is there any more discussion by the commission?
So I am concerned about the number of parking spaces as be required at this client, because we've been talking about parking, and we're talking an excessive amount of parking. That's 2 spaces that he's required to have per unit. That's 8 spaces. And we have talked in previous conversations that we're going to reduce that down to 1 per unit. And so that's what this, that's what I'm trying to speak to, so that you can understand that if and when the code changes, which I'm sure it will, if we are going to go forward with some parking revisions and understand that we have probably more parking than we need, and that's required, and it's costing developers money, that this would give them, we need to consider as the code changes that they're not going to be stuck with those old regulations perhaps as they get updated.
If the code changes, there is a provision that he can apply for reduced parking to conform to the new code.
Why run somebody through that rigor when it could just be by default?
It's the code.
Well, if we take care of it now, he won't have to do that.
I'm sorry, your motion failed. Any more amendments for this? Okay. A yes vote finds that the proposed fourplex complies with the requirements and conditions of Title 15, Section 1510-320D, as stated on pages 7, 8, and 9 of the packet. A no vote finds it does not. Is the commission ready to vote? Okay. Deputy Clerk, would you please call for the vote?
Voting on public hearing resolution 25-031. Charbonneau?
Yes.
Jorge?
Yes.
Sullivan?
Yes.
Pemberton?
Yes.
Hubbard?
Yes.
Hornseth?
Yes.
And Sheriff Griswold.
Yes.
The main motion for resolution 25-031 has been approved.
The city will now post a copy of the approved application for at least 10 calendar days. An appeal may be made at any time until the resolution becomes effective. Unless rescinded, amended, or appealed, the approved resolution becomes effective 10 calendar days after passage and posting. Next on the agenda is informational items and reports. The next regular meeting will be on Tuesday, November 4th at 7 p.m. here in Council Chambers. The next work session will be Tuesday, November 18th at 6 p.m. Just a reminder, if you plan to be absent from any meetings, please notify staff as soon as possible. Next on the agenda is final public comments. Would anyone in the audience wish to speak? Okay, hearing none. Next on the agenda is administration and commission comments. Staff, do you have any comments?
I know it was a separate meeting, but I'm really pleased with the public turnout from the work session earlier and all the great feedback that we got. So also wanted to get your feedback as well, and so we'll have to plan a different time or part of a work session to get the perspective of the Planning and Zoning Commission. So we'll make time for that in the future because your input is valuable as well. But yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with the turnout tonight. So thank you to the public for engaging.
Yeah, it was great to see so much positive energy from the public and a lot of great additional comments that we'll be sure to include in our draft and analysis and incorporating into the goals and values of the new updated plan.
Jamie? Okay. Deputy Clerk? Okay, commissioners? Commissioner Sullivan?
Yes. I want to once congratulate you guys for that heavy lift, because I prepared things like that in my previous lives, and it creates a life of itself, and you presented it so well. It was very clear, it was articulate, and it kept people's interest, and it was great. And I really appreciate how you've presented it to this meeting, the resolutions that you've done, and worked with this to be able to pre-chew it, so to speak, for the rest of us, so we can make a good decision. So thank you. Thank you, that's it.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I have a comment. I just want to express I'm a little disappointed in my colleagues for not stepping up with me on that amendment, and we've been sitting around the table hearing a lot of frustrations and complaints and having this discussion about parking, and I know there's several of you are in that camp of trying to get rid of parking minimums, and so I'm just a little concerned that maybe we're not stepping up to what we think that probably should be done and help eliminate the regulatory burden on the people that are trying to provide housing, and as well as the cost, and help limit the cost of their efforts. So anyway, I'll end with that, other than thank you for your effort and during the work session and all that, and look forward to more discussions on that as a commission. Thank you.
I want to thank the entire staff for these incredible handouts and the analysis and the work you put into it. It's really exciting, and I appreciate how quickly and clearly you went through that PowerPoint, because both of you, because unfortunately time was limited tonight. If this happened at 6 o'clock, we probably would have gone till 10.
Yeah.
But it's just fabulous to have so much public input, and I hope we can keep that going. Of course, you'll have to buy pizza, but but it was tremendous to have that kind of public support. And thanks for our applicant for providing more housing. Already have renters lined up, and it's one of our goals and one of the city council's goals. So thanks for making housing happen. Okay, with that, 7:27, adjourned.